When you read the Bible in English, you're making use of a great deal of translation work that's gone on and been done by those experts who are able to read it in Hebrew or in Greek. And that serves you very well, but it leaves little gaps, there's little things that you wouldn't quite appreciate the significance of. Now, one way of dealing with that is to go off and learn Hebrew or learn Greek so that you can read it in the original language yourself. And obviously we do offer those biblical language classes, but they're not for everyone because that's quite a hard ask actually. It involves a lot of work. So Biblical Languages for Fun is a way of just sort of taking the lid off, as it were, without having to sort of dive in entirely. It's just understanding some of the key features of the languages that will give you a bit more insight into looking at English Bible translations without having to learn the Hebrew and the Greek in full. I've just got a couple of examples I can give you here. I looked up Psalm 68 verse 11 in a few different English Bibles, and here are three different translations of it. The Lord announced the word, or the Lord gives the command, or the Lord gave the command. And those come from the NIV and the NRSV and the Good News Bible. Now, if you look at those three side by side, you might want to say, what's going on there? Is it a word or is it a command? And when did it happen? One of them is in the past, announced, one is in the present, gives, and one is in the future, and another also in the past, but gave rather than announced. So there's immediately some interesting questions about what's going on there. And the sort of thing we'll look at in Biblical Languages for Fun is understanding some key features of how Hebrew verbs work to explain to you why there's those variations of tenses in the English and what it might represent. And similarly, another thing that we'll look at is names and understanding the significance of names. The story of Ruth, you might know, and it all begins in Bethlehem with a man called Elimelech. And some Bible translations, not all of them, but some of them, explain to you that the name Bethlehem, the name of the place, means house of bread or house of food. So therefore it's very ironic that it starts with a famine in the place that's called Bethlehem, house of food. But having looked through probably something like 20 different Bible translations, there's not a single one which explains what the name Elimelech means. And yet it's absolutely crucial to really understand the nuance and the point of the story of the book of Ruth. You need to know the meaning of the name of the man Elimelech. So there's some simple little things that we can do that will give you a lot of extra depth and insight into the Bible without having to go all the way into thoroughly reading the language. So come along and have some fun.